Hey ho, friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. It is sale time once again. YouTube hates sale videos, I gotta tell you. They're like, wait a second, are you telling people to click away from YouTube? Punished. But we do have a sale to talk about, and this one is from Commodity Fragrances. So what they're doing essentially is their entire archive collection of fragrances, they are liquidating them. They are just terminating them, essentially. Just imagine your favorite 80s action movie, and then the villains in that action movie, what's happening to them, that's what's happening to the Commodity Archive Collection, basically. Rambo, RoboCop, Predator, well, I guess Predator, people were the one, whatever. So I'm gonna talk to you guys about some of my favorite commodity fragrances that you can pick up as part of this sale, give you the code that you need to use, the whole shebang. It is also linked in the description, so after the video, make sure you check that out if you are so inclined. The link, like I said, is below here. So in case you are unaware of what commodity fragrances are, they're a line of fragrances, well, a house, a fragrance house that has fragrances that are based around commodities, yeah. So just as an example here, we got Bergamot. I will allow you to guess what Bergamot is based around. You're a genius. It is based around Bergamot. So these would typically run $145. That's the cost of the Commodity Archive Collection, the fragrances in the Archive Collection, 100 ml size bottles, as you can see right here. So they're marked off 60% as part of this sale, but then you can also use the code GENTS15, which gets you an additional 15% off over the already existing 60% markdown as part of this blowout, this large clearance sale. So that will bring the price of any of these Archive Collection fragrances to a little bit below 50 bucks. That's not bad. 145 under 50. Pretty solid, pretty good. And there are other fragrances in the Archive Collection that I'm not gonna cover. There's, I believe, 11 right now overall. Is that right, 11? Yeah, I'm pretty sure 11. And as far as I'm aware, the reason that they are killing off the Archive Collection is to rebirth it as a phoenix from the flames in new presentations. So new bottle styles, and they're gonna go back up to the normal price at that point. So once they sell out of all the existing stock of this Archive Collection, that's it. It is done. You will not be able to get them for this price again. Or this presentation again for that matter. And this code runs through, and this sale runs through the 30th, so not that long. So today, the 29th, through tomorrow the 30th, once it ticks over to the 31st, that is it, no more sale. So I'm assuming at that point, if they still have more left, I don't know, launch them into the sun, just big cannon. Let's get into the fragrances. Bergamot is the one that I pulled out first, so that's the one we're gonna spray. Always really enjoyed this. Actually one of my favorite from the entire house. And the reason for that is because I just like bergamot, man. I like the way it smells. That's not all that's in here though. There is a lot of bergamot, but there's also clementine, additional citrus in here also. It's got a nice green tinge to it, extremely clean and fresh. Got a little mint in there, that woody vetiver in the base as it dries down. This is a top-notch spring and summer daytime fragrance, a great office scent as well. I would say with this one that if you like fragrances, kind of like Le Labo Bergamot 22 or Varvatos Artisan Pure, you'll love this one. That's a pretty safe bet. The only thing that I wish this had was a little more punch as far as the projection goes, but it smells killer. And for under 50 bucks, that's a stupid steal. Let's talk about this guy next, Whiskey. Now my bottle is an older bottle because if you look this one up now, it's WY, or more accurately, it is W star 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 Y. So when you look at the Archive Collection, that one is Whiskey. So obviously they had to censor the name Whiskey. I'm not sure exactly why, but there has been a little change to the name there. Now, Whiskey does have a whiskey tinge to it. It's got that booziness, but I'll tell you, this is more focusing on like the cask itself, like the whiskey cask, than it is full on just the boozy whiskey note. So while it has a bit of that alcohol tinge, you know, it's got some of that boozy sweetness in there as well, that warmth, it does have a little more of like a biting woodiness to it than in a lot of fragrances that are focused around boozy notes. It does give it a really unique tinge though, a different take on a boozy, warm, sweet fall and wintertime fragrance. It's one that I would say for some people, it may need to grow on you a little bit, but I really love the kind of difference in how it approaches that type of scent. Although I would say that for some people, they'd probably rather just have it be like, you know, a warm, sweet booze fest. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Let's talk gin next. Since we talked whiskey, let's talk gin. And I quite like this one. This is, I would say along with Bergamot, probably the first commodity fragrance that I really dug, I really wore. Because I have an older bottle of Bergamot as well. Yeah, I dig this. It kind of throws me back to like, I don't know, beginning of the channel. Around then, that's when I was wearing this one. So you have citrus in here, a good amount of citrus. You have juniper, good amount of juniper as well. And then ginger also, kind of all right there in the top. So a lot of juniper, ginger, and citrus when you first spray this on, leaning a little more toward the ginger and juniper, which you would expect from a gin fragrance because gin oftentimes has a quite prominent juniper flavor to it. As it dries down, there's musk in there, there's oak, so you get a little touch of woods and like a faint hint of smoke from the oak, smoky oak. It is decently sweet as well, so keep that in mind. That juniper and ginger, the way that it's done here, does impart a good amount of sweetness, like an aromatic sweetness. I want to talk about Book next. Heck yeah. This one is both weird and cool. Yeah, it's got cucumber in there, which, you know, isn't the first thing that comes to my mind when I think book. Think book, I'm thinking library, I'm thinking old tomes, you know, old wooden bookcases, and then cucumber. Where'd that come from? There's also eucalyptus in here, there's sandalwood, there's vetiver, a number of different woody notes actually, but it creates this fragrance that has like a fresh cucumber, papery scent profile that will remind you of a fragrance from Le Labo called Santal 33. So it has that sort of feeling. For under $50 again, wonderful deal. And it is absolutely much more wearable than it may sound when I describe it. Again, just think Santal 33, but with a little more freshness and that little bit cuke cracked in there. Let's tackle these two, leather and vetiver. For me, these kind of go together a little bit. And I actually have 3 bottles of vetiver. I have this newer bottle and I have 2 of the older bottles. Woo! Yeah, so vetiver is an interesting one. Vetiver can come across a bunch of different ways. So it can be very grassy and green and kind of fresh and woody. It can be dark and smoky and heavy. It really depends on where the vetiver is from, how the vetiver is harvested, how the vetiver is used. Like there's a lot of different things that go into how vetiver can smell. It's one of my favorite notes, if not my most favorite. Just the ways that it can come across, it still surprises me. So this has a lot of vetiver, a lot. Then it also has blackberry in here. And the way the blackberry is used is different. It's sweet, kind of bitter and dark. So you can pick up that fruitiness off the top, but it's not a typical fruit that you would expect in a fragrance, the way that it's used. You also have jasmine in here, which frankly lends like a little animalic touch to it. And then the vetiver in there is a little bit more on the dark side. It's not on the dark side, we're talking about Darth Vader now, but it's not as fresh and clean. So it is a vetiver that will not appeal to everyone, but for people that love vetiver, it's a great choice to add to the collection on the cheap. And then leather over here, I'll tell you, this is actually going to appeal to people that like Dark Rebel Rider, those fragrances from Barbados. It's leather done sort of in that style, you know, that kind of black leather jacket vibe with some resins that add a touch, a slight balsamic touch to it, you know, that kind of sweetness that comes out from the earth almost. Little cacao in there, some woods as well. Really well done. And that one has a pretty nice pop to it as well. You know, pretty good performance on that one. So I wanted to highlight these 6, some of my favorites. Bergamot, I would say, is my absolute favorite. After Bergamot, I like all of these about the same. So there we go. Commodity Fragrances, the Archive Collection, at least in this presentation, is going away. You can get them for under $50. So if you've been thinking about picking any of them up, you could basically scoop 3 of them for the price of one normal one, which is a frankly really killer deal. And there are actually a couple that I do kind of want, so I might use my own code and pick those up. That's like double dipping, we'll do that. There we go, guys. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I will see you again tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.